Good morning, esteemed viewers. Good morning, Nigeria, and welcome to This Morning on ITV TMI, right here on Independent Television. Of course, as you know, we take the next 3 hours to talk about the consequential conversations that are shaping our social, our political landscape here in Nigeria and even globally. We have a whole lot to talk about, different developments, and we're bringing you several perspectives on those conversations. I am Chukwufumnanya Adigwe right here in our Benin studio. I'm not alone. I have with me Dr. Sonny Duke Okosun, and I also have Anoluwapo Stevens. Good morning to you, Dr. Sonny Duke.
Good morning, Chukwufumnanya. It's a delight to be with you as always on the show TMI this lovely Monday morning.
Same here, and a wonderful morning to you also, Anu.
Great morning to you, Ifunaya and Dr. Sonny Duke Okosun. Good to be here, and thank God it's Monday.
Thank God it's Monday. How was your weekend, if I'll just throw that in really quickly?
Yeah, it was splendid. I mean, the climax of it was the Mr. Do International last night. It was awesome. I mean, you literally see culture at its peak. And then, of course, on Saturday, we monitored and observed the APC presidential primaries across the country to give Mr. President a return ticket for 2027.
All right, so just as you've brought it up, let's talk about that. The APC primaries that, you know, presented the current president to us as the flag bearer of APC for the 2027 general elections. A lot of people anticipated that, but then he also had an opposition right there in the party, which is mind-boggling for a lot of Nigerians. Please talk about that.
No, it's obvious that even though the party has since made up its mind to give Mr. President a second ticket, a ticket for a second term, the process must be followed to logical conclusion in line with the Electoral Act. The president can't just go ahead and contest the election. There must be a primary, and people who are members of the party must vote for him unanimously to say he is a presidential candidate, and that's exactly what the party did. So it's more or less like a formality. We had one, Daniel Osifo, who bought the form and also participated in the primaries. And I just know that all of these part of the formalities needed to create the process for the president to emerge as a party's candidate. And that's exactly what has happened, because I think I heard the Daniel guy got just one vote. So which means people from his own ward, from his local government, from the state where he comes from, incidentally is from Edo State, they didn't vote for him. You should respect that. So I think for the presidential primaries, we didn't really have skirmishes. But for the National Assembly, House of Assembly primaries, there were a lot of issues. Issues of imposition, issues of violence and attack, issues of intimidation, and instances where you have in a particular senatorial district, you have 3 aspirants, all right? There's one that is anointed. Everybody queues behind that particular one. Others come and cast their vote. They are told, is either you're on this line or nothing. And when you see that, under that circumstance, if you're not careful, it may degenerate to violence. What do? You just take a leave. But they go ahead and announce it. But I can tell you for sure, with what we've seen over the years, it's not yet over with the primaries until perhaps the headquarters HQ of the party now gives a final report on who is actually the candidate for each of the constituencies where these primaries took place.
All right, thank you so much. And just before I do introduce you to our anchor in Abuja, who is right now standing by, 10.99 million votes and to win, secure the presidential ticket for the APC won by our president. What's your take?
Well, that really is a huge number of figure, but I don't think it's shocking to a lot of Nigerians, because what we expected to happen eventually happened. I think it would have been a different scenario if another person actually clinched the ticket for the APC. Interestingly, we saw an unknown person, Stanley Osifo, who apparently is from Edo State, clinching over 16,000 votes on that day. And also to put it out there that on that particular day, we had over 11 million accredited registered members of the APC right there at the event. So it really wasn't shocking enough. And yesterday, we also did hear in the news that the president has gotten the certificate of return to run. Now, what this means is that he is going to be flying. Of course, he did fly the party's flag yesterday, but he's going to be flying the party's flag for the presidential election come 2027. Well, generally, one would have expected that with the president and a person of his stature, he would have, gone for consensus. But shockingly, we saw direct primaries happen over the weekend with a lot of persons asking question, was it a show of solidarity or perhaps a show of power, or to show that maybe, just maybe, the APC can put their, house together to have a wonderful primaries election. And just to also say that it's the season of primaries, because today the ADC would be having their own party primaries with the likes of Rotimi Amechi, Yahatu, and of course the big man right there standing, Atiku Abubakar, all vying in for the same position. So we expect a lot more drama, controversies, and so much more to happen today.
Thank you so much, Anu. And like I did say before, our anchor in Abuja is standing by where all of this happened, the seat of power. The primary election actually took place at the Bola Ahmed Tinubu Square right there in Abuja. Charity Tanko, good morning to you. How is Abuja, and can we have your take on this?
Good morning, and thank you very much. Well, you have all said most of the things, because this is the season of primaries, and the ADC is expected to make a decision today. As for President Bola Tinubu emerging the APC presidential candidate, it is not a surprise to any Nigerian. And then the other young man that was courageous enough to contest against the president, I handed to him, and even Nigerians handed to him, even though Nigerians low-key know that it is one of those things that APC will do, so that people will not look at it as if just one presidential form printed for one. But be it may, it shows internal democracy, due process was followed, and because of that, can challenge that. We have the official candidates of the Labour Party, that is Peter Obi, who will be flying the NDC flag. After today, we'll be able to know who is going to be flying the ADC flag, because it is very important to know that person, and all hands on deck and fingers are crossed, because people are already speculating that is going to be one man, and we all know who. So by and large, for the presidential primaries for the APC, it was an event. It was not, there were no so much problems and all of that, but we all know what went down for the governorship primaries, the House of Representatives primaries, and all of that, where there are candidates, the ones who lost are still crying foul, with some threatening to leave the party, join other parties, and ahead of the 2027 general elections.
Very insightful disposition there. Now, over in Lagos, we have Patricia Gabriels standing by. Good morning, Pat. How are you? How is Lagos? And what's your take on this conversation?
Good morning, Chukwufunanya. Lagos is beautiful. It's an exciting new week. It's my birthday week, so I am very excited. Anyway, let's talk about Bola Ahmed Tinubu clinching the APC 2027 presidential ticket with nearly 11 million votes. It's not surprising to Nigerians, of course, with this. And we saw how the governors were trying to outshine each other to be the one that gave more votes from their state to the presidency. So we weren't surprised about it. We were expecting to have him clinch the But like you all said out there, that man from Edo State that had the boldness to contest the primaries with the president, I think we say kudos to him, because that's what actually politics is all about. It's not just for one person. Everybody that wants to try will try out, and if you win, great to you. And so the president has clinched the ticket for the APC 2027 presidential election. It's not new to most Nigerians, or it's not surprising to most Nigerians. We all knew he was going to clinch the ticket. And then later today, we're going to be seeing the ADC pulling it out for who will have the ticket for the presidential election come 2027. We're all looking forward to having the result pour into the studios later on today. Chukwufunanya.
We are hopeful to see how this turns out. Now, that's for what is most consequential in the political scene. Talking socially, Nigeria's social landscape. On social media, there is a lot of rancor about a certain police officer. He's actually Edo-born. I think his name is Officer Newton, who came online to make a very troubling video, which further goes to highlight the concerns that Nigerians have about the modus operandi of the force right here in the country. Now, he came out to say if he finds any citizen or videoing him, making a video of him, while he is on duty, he's going to shoot on sight, and not just shoot that person, shoot anybody that's in the vehicle. Very, very disturbing, and there's been a lot of conversation around this. Let's talk about this.
It's quite disturbing, and I think that's one of the most careless, irresponsible behavior from an officer. And to even think that after he's done that, he came back a few days later to start making a video to apologize, shows the level of irresponsibility that he displayed. Considering the fact that that video started trending, just on after we had that incident in Warri, where a young man was alleged to have been apprehended with a parcel containing a pistol from a delivery, and then the officer in that area command in Warri brought out a gun. He cracked it the first time, he didn't respond, took out the magazine, cracked it again, and then shot him right. In fact, I would say he executed him right there, right? And we're just getting to, I would say recover, because we can never recover from that. Is there are still people, when they watch that video, they still find it difficult to believe such a thing will happen.
And it's barely a month.
Yeah. And then this other guy just came out to say, look, I mean, he was so bold. I just hope the authorities would deal decisively with that, officer. And we even though we know that things are not really the way they ought to be with the police, in terms of welfare and all of that. But for someone to have the courage, the boldness, the temerity to make such a video is a height of irresponsibility, and it shouldn't be condoned at all.
Definitely a very callous move on the part of that officer, Anu, our TMI socials anchor. You do know a lot about this story, and hopefully the perspectives that are surrounding it, the takes of netizens. Can we have that?
Okay, well, it's actually through the whole of social media, into a buzz when a lot of persons were just trying to recover from what happened in Delta State with Mena Ogidi, of which we haven't even gotten, information about what has gone on so far with ASP Nuhu. And now we are seeing ASP Isokpe right here in Edo State, have similar thoughts. Well, a lot of things to talk about, but I want to talk about the root cause, because oftentimes when we get to hear a conversation like this, we only talk about the main situation and just have him thrown out of the system. But if you also watch the video, which I had a clip of, you would see where he showed bodies, his mark, where he was showing gunshots and bullets that were still in his body. That he has to, right? Scars of it, that he's trying to, he has to do surgery to get them out, and he hasn't done that. Just as you said, Dr. Sonijuk, about the welfare situation in Nigeria, and with the police force, it is total sham. But then again, does it justify the action? Does it justify the careless and reckless statement that that man actually spelled out? No, it doesn't. Gone are the days where you hear the police is your friend. Is the police truly your friend in this situation? So apparently he was trying to air his view about a recent directive from IGP Tunji Disu, who has been doing the Lord's work as regards swift response within the police force, where he said, we as citizens have the right to film any erring officer. I mean, there are situations where a lot of Nigerians on social media would see a particular man doing the Lord's work, doing something good, and have them video them, put on social media, and then we hail them. So this particular guy said, what are you going to do? If you do it, we're going to shoot you. And you know, it's actually got a lot of Nigerians talking. But then again, shout out to the Anambra State Police Command for the swift response of arresting him. And let's just hope that the mental health, you know, procedure being carried out, just as the IGP said, will be followed to the latter. And I also feel that all police officers should go on drug test, mental health, you know, evaluation, and have every now and then orientation and reorientation and training of how things should be done in handling citizens moving forward.
Well, many thanks, Anu, for your disposition there. Like we did promise you just when we kickstarted this program, fresh perspectives to the conversations that are shaping our political and social landscape. There's still more to come. Up next is our newspaper review segment. Our reviewer is already on ground, the HOD of Mass Communications Department, Dr. Dan Ekeraifu. Stay with us.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain, which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
TMI. We're now in our newspaper review segment where we take a look at the headlines on our national dailies. Our first point of call here is Daily Sun. The Daily Sun headlines: ADC, 3.4 million members to decide Atiku, Amechi, Hayatu Dean's fate today. Well, that's the major headline on that particular paper. Dr. Dan.
Yes, we need to see what is going to happen, but be rest assured that individuals who have the financial muscle to wrestle power from the others will win the primaries. It's not going to be based on the will of the party members, but those who have the financial muscle to influence members will win the day.
All right, thank you so much. Hopefully we can move on to our next point of call. Have it right there on the screen. Well, we have Daily Times.
Yeah, Daily Times is our next port of call, and it says Tinubu promises improved economy, security beyond 2027. Interestingly, these have been the key issues with governance and government in Nigeria since the present administration came on board. And I saw a video over the weekend with a political leader in the north, a chieftain of the APC, Garius Gololo, threatening fire and brimstone that the north will not make the mistake of 2023. Dr. Tan, give us your perspective on this. And against the background that Hope Uzodinma said, well, with the votes that they garnered in the APC primaries, only APC alone can even give the president a second term.
In fact, when I saw the figures from the primaries, saying the party members, about 10 million, the president scored about 10.something million votes.
Yes.
I was asking myself, where were the individuals that came out for the primaries? If you watch the video clips across the country, the number of persons that turned up for the primary is not as high as the final outcome showed. Although our state government here was wise enough to say 139,000 members voted for the president, because if they had raised the issue far beyond that, people will start asking questions. I watched Gololo's video too. He was quarreling the Minister of Works, saying that the president will do a major road from Sokoto to Badagry, and the question was, where will the road start from? Is it Sokoto or Lagos? But by and large, the three basic issues the president raised as his anchor for beyond 2027, he still anchored on what he said in 2023: security, economy for Nigerians. The same question we need to ask ourselves, although they have claimed that between 2023 and now the economy was in a bad shape, they've been able to salvage the economy to a reasonable level, but whether it translates to better standard of living for Nigerians is a different issue altogether. But security is one issue that has plagued us. I know that in many parts of the country where kidnapping has become a business, we will not say it's a federal government problem alone. The state government needs to start thinking right to address this issue. Somewhere in our here, neighboring state here, people go to people's home, knock at their doors, they beat them out and kidnap them. That is the reality of what is happening now. So we don't need to wait for the president to do that, but he needs to put his sticky cap right so that the issues surrounding security can be addressed, or else we will remain in a helpless situation.
Okay, now let's turn our attention over to the first daily newspaper this morning, and interestingly leading with a different headline that says, blood on the altar, gunmen kill worshippers, abduct 15, and fresh Kwara horror. Really a pathetic situation there. Tinubu clinches APC presidential ticket, receives certificate of return. We saw that happen yesterday. In sports, Arsenal FC and 22 years wait as Martin Odenga lifts EPL trophy. Well, congratulations to the winning team. ADC clears Atiku, Amechi, Hayatu Dean for presidential race. Malami emerges ADC consensus governorship candidate in Kebbi State. U.S. Embassy, Lagos Consulate shut Monday for memorial. Serap demands names behind $460 million Abuja CCTV contract. And finally, on the front page of the First Daily this morning, NCAA sanctions 11 airlines over unpaid charges. Dr. Dan.
All right, before we do get your insights, Dr. Dan, we'll take a short break now just to take an intermission, after which we'll continue with our newspaper review segments. Don't go away. Welcome back. A very short break, like I did say before. We still have here the HOD of Mass Communication Department, Dr. Dan Ekerefo, giving his takes on the headline of our national dailies. We just had her read out the headlines of First Daily. Let's have your take.
If you look at the major headline from that newspaper about the killing of persons, some persons in Kwara State, Kwara has become a hotbed for insecurity as far as Nigeria is concerned. From last year, the state of insecurity is growing in that state at a level that should raise concern for those who are discerning. The same thing keeps recurring. The question you ask yourself is, are the security agencies not thinking in the right direction? Is the state government not thinking about what needs to be done to meet this issue on the board? Our attitude to policing in this country has always been very reactive. It is when you hear, oh, persons have been abducted, persons have been killed, the military authority or the police authority will say, we're on top of it. Why do we have failure in terms of intelligence? If appropriate intelligence was taken, that issue would have been nipped in the bud before it materialized. But this is Nigeria, where it is when people are killed that will start lamenting over what needed to be done. We pray for the repose of the souls of the individuals who lost their life and the consolation their families need. Nevertheless, government needs to walk the talk. Sometimes when I wake up, I see headlines like this. I keep asking myself, are we making progress? Is there hope for this country with where we are going? Yeah. Because if we don't start thinking right by addressing these issues, it's going to get worse.
If it's not already getting worse, because I can imagine that bandits will be demanding 1 billion naira and a certain number of motorcycles and all of that. Apparently, those resources are going into rearming, and then, of course, the motorcycles will be deployed for their logistics. It's crazy. And you wonder, if you look at what's happening on social media, this cash, they display it, they sleep on top, they dance on top, they eat on top and do all sort of things on top of this money. Eventually, where does this money end up? Who warehouses this money for them? Which bank account? So many questions that needs to be asked to address this issue. But let's look at what we have on the Daily Trust newspaper. It says, major headline there says, ADC presidential primaries, Atiku, Amici, Hayatuddin battle for ticket. That's the top story there. And then also we have Nigeria remains World Bank's third largest borrower with $18.5 billion. Disruptions loom as NCAA places airlines on no service order. This is better rather than having planes falling down. Ida commuters spend hours on Abuja-Kaduna Highway. More for you on the newspaper review segment, looking at the Daily Trust APC primaries. Governors outdo one another as Tinubu nets over 10 million votes. Dr. Dan.
Yes, I will start with the Kaduna Road. I will link it to Abuja-Okene Road. If you ply that road regularly, you realize that it's always nightmarish traveling on these two roads. The reason is that the construction companies that are handling these roads, they are paid in piecemeal, but the level of work is very slow. If you recall, Abuja-Okene Benin Road has been on on the talking policy is Jonathan's government. And I'll be asking myself, is it that they don't release money at all for this project? Why do we keep having the same problem year in, year out, and nothing seems to be done? Nigerians should start shouting. We should start demanding accountability from our government. These days were not fixed. What you have seen is that government has diverted attention to an area that people don't use at all as a point of reference. So a man who wakes up in the morning and say, I want to get to Zozo place, he ends up sleeping on the road. In this age and time where kidnapping has become the biggest order of the day, what can we do? We still need to start talking. If we don't talk, like I said earlier, the situation will get worse. What Billy Truss forced with the 10 million vote, you from the way that headline was cashed, it's like it's a prearranged figure that they arrived at. Because if governors are fighting to say my state will produce 400,000 votes, when the actual members of the party that turned up for such primary was not up to that, it means they worked from the answer to the question.
Thank you so much for those insights, Dr. Dan. We'll move over now to the Punch newspaper. A major headline there says, APC primaries, Tinubu polls 10.9 million votes to clinch presidential tickets. That story is on page 7. Also on the Punch newspaper, on the 2027 race still, the ADC picks Tinubu's challenger today. Atiku, Amici, Hayatuddin fight for party's presidential flag. And that's on page 2, still on party politics as it goes to the 2027 general elections.
What I will say with reference to this headline is that if you look down south, the number of candidates arguing for presidential position seems to be increasing. If Atiku picks the ticket and the North is able to unite against unite around Atiku, we may have a very strong issue in the coming elections. The reason is that down south, former President Jonathan is on the race. The idea is that he's going to gain out the vote from the south-south. If Obi has been picked as a candidate for NDC, the southeast will support Peter Obi. So the southwest will support the president. The fight will not be for the north. And the north has a high level of voting population in this country. So if the candidate comes from the north, we are going to have a very serious issue in the coming election, because it will not be easy for any of these candidates from the south to win the election on a very clean slate if they don't have a united front before the elections.
Okay, Ado, what you got?
The Daily Independent, leading with a different headline. It says, economic reforms alone won't spark private sector growth. That's the major headline. Outrage grows in Nigeria over surging digital transfer challenges on page 7. And also, finally, Tinubu pledges to deepen economic reform, strengthen security. Dr. Dan, which of the stories do you want to react?
I will talk on the issue of economic reforms. In Nigeria, our talk is always with reference to what the president is doing. We are not asking questions about what the state governors are doing. The type of policy the state governors initiate will trickle down to having the type of economic impact you expect to see if we are to grow. Most of the time, Nigerians blame the president, but the subnational governments who want to contribute to the process, we are not asking questions about what they do with the resources available to them. So, if your state cannot provide light, that is not the problem of the president, because the Electricity Act provides that state governors can generate their own electricity. How many months or years will it take to generate power plants that can bring light to a state? So if a state has good electricity and people, cottage industries are set up, the economic level of such a state will grow. But where the reverse is the case, we keep waiting for the federal government to do that. Our march towards progress will not get the desired result.
Okay, let's take a look at our last paper for review before we go into a major conversation today on the show. We'll look at the New Telegraph. It says, Nigeria at high risk of Ebola importation. NDC warns. Activates emergency response teams. And the writer there says Sanwo-Olu triggers surveillance response. You find that story on page 3 and 5 of the New Telegraph. 2027 presidency, Tinubu polls 10,999,000 967 votes accepts APC's nomination. Those are the top stories from the New Telegraph. Dr. Dan.
Our attitude to health emergency has remained the same. We are always reactive. Ebola was here sometimes in 2014, 2019, 2020 we had COVID. The same protocol that we ought to follow are applied in both viruses. So what we need to do is to quickly put machinery in motion. People should start washing their hands. Those basic health protocols we observed during COVID and Ebola in the past, NBC should start rolling out basic sensitization so that people can prepare well ahead of it. With the growing level of poverty, where people gather in large numbers in places to seek for their daily bread, I pray we don't experience outbreak of Ebola or any of these viral diseases again. If we do, the death rate will be higher. So NBC and the State Ministry of Health, they should start sensitizing people about this now so that we can prepare well ahead of time. Because if there is adequate preparation, if it eventually happens, we'll be able to manage it.
Well, with that comment, we've come to the end of the newspaper review segment here on TMI. Many thanks, Dr. Dan, for your invaluable comments this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, up next is the major conversation right here, the discussion segment anchored by Dr. Sonny Duko Kosu. It promises to be a lot to unpack, a robust segment. Stay with us.
now we've got Dr. Jude Obasumi, is a civil society activist and lecturer, joining us from EPUMA, the administrative headquarters of Eastern West Local Government Council. Dr. Obasumi, many thanks for joining us on TMI on the ITV network.
All right, good morning, Dr. Koswa. Good morning, our viewers.
Fantastic. I saw a post you made yesterday, and that struck me so much. It borders on the semi-complicity of the authorities in charge, particularly as it borders on some of the happenings in the country that have continued to occur they're more or less like a recurring decimal. We're talking about the insecurity situation. Your state, pupils were kidnapped, teachers kidnapped, one of them killed, was buried last weekend. I saw a post just a few days ago of bandits demanding 1 billion naira and motorcycles, and even the kidnappers in your state are also making demands. And these things just go on unabated, and it looks like there's no end in sight. Give me your take on your philosophy around semi-complicity about the authorities in charge and why these things have festered for so long.
All right, and thank you very much. It's a pleasure to know that I'm going to be interacting with somebody I respect so well, former rep member Sergi Sogo. Good morning, sir.
Okay, I'm not sure he's joined us now, but I'm sure he will join us any moment from now. Please go ahead. I will also have the HOD Mass Communication, Dr. Dan Ekara, who is an associate professor of mass communication, also joining us. Dr. Dan, many thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so Dr. Jude, let's get you tee off on the conversation.
Before now, we thought that this issue of kidnapping, banditry, were more or less synonymous to those in the Niger Delta region. That was in the early 2000s. But thereafter, it now migrated to the north, where we now saw this issue of kidnapping, people now agitating for what was not even clear to them. And some of us now said that something was wrong fundamentally in the way things were being done in the country. I recall when it started in Niger Delta, it was seen that more or less we were demanding for improvements, their living conditions, the activity of the oil companies that were no longer favorable, trying to see how they can increase the local content in terms of employment, in terms of deployment of the resources to support those in Niger Delta. But thereafter, we now had this issue of kidnapping in the north that led to excessive banditry, people leaving their homes. And I started asking myself, what must be wrong? Something must be wrong somewhere. But realized that it has now become an enterprise. Some years ago, I wrote a paper where I titled it Kidnapping and Emerging Enterprise in Nigeria. The enterprise is no longer emerging. The enterprise has come to stay. That is why you can say that in our country today, people will just come out from nowhere and go and kidnap human beings, fellow human beings, and begin to demand for ransom. And what do we get at the end of the government? We always tell us that we are on top of the situation. We are deploying drones, we are deploying army officers, we are deploying police, we are deploying everything that you can deploy. But what comes out? There is no week in Nigeria that you can't hear that people are kidnapped, ransoms are paid, and we have the so-called NIN and other units of identification put in place by this government and previous government to see how they can track all of us. The question is, what is going on? It was yesterday I just concluded that there's no way the federal government, and I'm saying unequivocally, that the federal government can tell us that they're not aware of these kidnappers. Because they don't make some good sense. If not the only country that we have experienced kidnapping or banditry, there was a time we had a terrible case in Colombia where the warlords, the narcotic, we had what was called narcotic terrorism, where those who were involved in dealing on substance were even influencing those who were made as governors, mayors in Colombia. But the government came in and took a decisive action and was able to reorganize the system, and today the level of narcotic terrorism in Colombia has reduced. But in the case of Nigeria, we bring to a different dimension, different strategies used by these kidnappers to capture people. Even if in your own house you have a poultry made up of 100 fowls and somebody comes to steal just 10, before they will leave you out and go outside, people will hear. But this time around, the rate at which this kidnapping is done is so scientific. They just come in, capture the people, they run into the bushes, and at the end of the day, they begin to communicate and demand for ransom. We have several agencies in Nigeria, but it looks as if they have been overwhelmed by the activities of these people. And for me personally, I'm saying that enough is enough. We cannot be talking about 2027 when the people are not safe. Not at all. People are no longer free to go out. People are scared. The economy, is collapsing gradually. And we claim that okay, we are doing well. We are not doing well. So for me, in Nigerian state, our leaders must come to explain to us what is happening. Our President Tinubu cannot tell us that he does not know what is going on. He keeps on changing service chiefs regularly. What happened? You cannot put, new wine on an old skin. That is because you're not getting it right. We talk about technology. What is going on? People are grossly tired, and we are saying that it should not allow to generate whereby people will not decide to get themselves involved in self-defense. And if that starts, a high level of anarchy will come up, and the so-called 2027 election that they are really running up and down for may not even take place.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Jude Obasame. Let's bring Right Honorable Sergius Ogun into this conversation. Share with me what you feel about the variation in perspectives from the North and the South as it relates to this issue of insecurity. While people in the North are a bit sympathetic, some, elites, some highly placed individuals are sympathetic to these bandits and terrorists. But down South, we can't say, that sympathy is also there. But you may also have those who believe in their causes, and then, of course, in the sense, are sympathetic. Is this the biggest challenge in fighting insecurity?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. The biggest challenge is, I think, the cultural and religious divide in this country. I remember when Trump came out and said that he was going to, if they don't stop killing Christians, he's going to come to Nigeria with the gun ablaze and all that. And most of my colleagues in the North, or former colleagues rather, I saw their response as if it's a Christian-Muslim thing. And what I was saying then, if you are not comfortable with what is happening, and you have somebody that said, I am coming to help, irrespective of whether they are Christians or Muslims that are being killed, will you not accept it? So I find it difficult to understand that you complain that your people are being killed and the government is not able to do something about it. Then on the other hand, you are concerned about somebody that is coming to render the help. So it beats my imagination to understand why we have this divide. But again, I think it boils down to politics. That's what I would say. But they are playing with people's lives.
Fantastic. Dr. Dan, I saw a lot of videos coming from someone like Sheikh Gumi on these issues consistently. But recently, he started singing a different tune, saying things like, if you see any video credited to him, it didn't come from him. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it, because we see the reactions that have trailed some of these things over the years, and this issue of insecurity from Boko Haram to banditry is now become hydra-headed with different groups, springing up here and there, in the country.
For me, I will catalog the issue of kidnapping into three. I will say we have neighborhood kidnapping, we have organized kidnapping like what you see in the North. The other type of kidnapping are the ones that the state sponsor. I say this with every sense of responsibility. Sometimes you hear a high-profile political individual is kidnapped. You'll be asking, the type of weapons that were deployed to carry out such exercise without any interference from the police. You find that more in the down south here. But up north, where the likes of Sheikh Gumi deny that some of those videos, it is the fear that because of the presence of the American security forces in Nigeria, he can become a target. That is one of the reasons why he's expressing such fear. If you watch the way the American security agencies have reacted, it's always a case of individuals who are no supporters of terrorists. American government does not waste time in eliminating such individuals. So that fear is why he is denouncing some of those videos and tacit support for kidnapping. The general fear we have raised about these issues, they are not insurmountable. I was in a mechanic workshop. I was discussing with my mechanic, and somebody said, how much does a carpenter has? A carpenter in the area was called for a job, and when he was going there, he was kidnapped, and they demanded 5 million from him. And how much does he make a day? But some people feel, oh, he gets work regularly,
and so he should have money.
So he should have money. So you start asking yourself, what has gone wrong? You know, on this platform, I have advocated for state police again and again, because if you take away community kidnapping, if you take away community kidnapping largely, you would have addressed a greater percentage of individuals who are involved in this. The ones that are more organized, like the banditry, you cannot deploy technology, high security network to address that. And because the government has not done anything, we keep hearing the same thing and again. Some other young boys who don't have anything to do, they now say that this is a big business. My PhD student was telling me that somewhere in Owo, as a family member organized a kidnapping of a high-profile individual, and they transferred the 20 million to his account. It has been a subject of family dispute now, because somebody in the family has money. He felt that is the only way he can get money out of him.
And so they kidnapped him.
So that is the issue. We need to address things about values, the poverty level. Just like Dr. Basami said, why have we allowed it to become an enterprise where people see it as a business they must do to survive?
Okay.
It's a question all of us will have to answer.
All right.
Maybe your station can champion this cause by calling for a security summit, where whatever issues we can articulate, it will set an agenda for maybe a state government.
Fantastic.
And trickle it down to the national level.
Fantastic. Dr. Jude, talk to me about your perspectives on intelligence gathering, which is a major pillar in dealing with the issue of insecurity. I'm always enthused by the Israeli Mossad, the American CIA, even though they've been accused of some of the worst humanitarian activities, you know, across the world. But you look at the painstaking activities they carry out. They track a particular terrorist or militant for 6 years, for 10 years, deploy all that is needed to achieve that. And in the country, we have so many security agencies whose primary responsibility is for the protection of lives and property. But the rate at which some of these guys operate is as though we don't have these guys in existence, whether it's the DSS, whether it's the police, whether it's the NIA, you just name it. The list is endless. And when you start getting some feedbacks from every operation that it was coordinated, there were informants, some were involved in surveillance, and then frequent communication. In fact, sometimes when you see some of these videos of bandits in the forest dancing and pepper souping over the monies that they have gotten from their victims, they are with walkie-talkies and stuff like that, you know. So which means there's a level of technological involvement, not a level of serious technological involvement in all of these operations. So what is your take on our response as government, as institutions, saddled with these responsibilities?
All right, thank you very much. You see, you cannot fight this type of war, so to say, with local technology or with guns. When somebody is holding AK-47 and submachine guns, you are going there with your gun that will take you almost 3 minutes for you to reload. At the moment now, you're also saying what might call technology-enabled kidnapping, terrorism, and what have you. And in our country, Nigeria, we have, just mention the names. You have, within the police, you have their Department for Intelligence. Within the Army, you have their Department for Intelligence. In the Custom, just mention them. You have specialized units that are trained and are enabled to ensure that there is proper intelligence gathering. And we also have statutory organizations like the DSS, there's one they call that DIO, I can't remember, and several others that are in place. The question is, what is happening? Today they will tell us that we've been able to get social equipment that will enable us to be able to track kidnappers. And at the end of the day, nothing comes out. This goes to show that the rate at which we gather our own information might be crude. It may not be a Gen Z strategy of gathering information. And again, let us note this. The security agencies that are able to gather information alone cannot do it. You need to have the people to provide the required information that you can gather. But in this country where we are now, there's a major disconnect. People cannot innocently go to the police station or go and meet any intelligence officer to say, sir, I discovered Mr. A and Mr. B doing this. Please take action. Before you leave there and get to your house, something else might happen to you. If care is not taken, those guys you reported to the agency might be the one to call you. We learned that you went to go and report. So this kind of shows that the intelligence architecture is very, very faulty. It can be infiltrated. That is why there's no secret at all within the system. I see no reason why people will use their phones, even if it's the digital phone they use, but it can be tracked. Many times we have this question, how come you cannot track? Most of them explain to us that if, for example, they make a phone call in Epoma now, and you track that location in Epoma, God forbid they will not come in Jesus' name. The next thing now, they will now move to a place like Irua or Urobi or even to Ubiaja to go and make the next call. So you cannot track them again. The question is, don't they have a web that can easily track where these calls are emanating from and know how to deploy the nearest officer to go and track those kind of persons or information? It's not there. So you can see that even within the system, the level of confidence of these officers in working is not there at all. Many times you see some of them, kudos to some of them, that take this job to be serious. They will make some beautiful arrests, clean arrests. They will now say that, sorry, we received an order from above saying that the officer, the person, the culprit to be released. And you have no other option than to release such a person. So you can see that if you actually want these institutions to work, they must be given the requisite freedom for them to actually use those knowledge that they have gathered. I keep asking myself, how come Nigerian soldiers, police, and what have you, we leave the country, go to Liberia, go to other parts of the world, and they go there to excel? They use, they use our men, they use the technology. What is going on that in our own country, we are good at excelling outside, then within, we cannot achieve, what we need. But I want to restate it, not until we begin to have radar cells, security cells, intelligence cells, at community level that is synchronized to another hall that is able to track information. Nothing will go on. We have any time in the state whereby I think it was the previous government that they said they had a security hall in GRA, that whatever is happening across the state, they will know. The question is what has happened. So we should not begin to go by the we just go ahead and feel okay, that is how we just go. Rather, let us come up with our own strategy, building local technology to see how best we can survive. Because with what is going on now, I must convey, people have lost trust. The system is not working. What will it cost government? He did not decide to okay, fine. In the various communities or in the various LGs, the 724 LGs in the country, that they have at least one person with a walkie-talkie that is synchronized to the national hall. So that if anything happening in the LG, once I make this call, I'll be able to get the required response. But that is not yet. Most people have lost confidence in civil agency in terms of keeping it secret. So not until that is done, bringing technology and bring experts, we cannot achieve it. And again, now based on what you have suffered so far, there's nothing wrong in us crying for assistance. These guys have overwhelmed our so-called intelligence technology. They have. Let us call those that can come and bail us out, because I tell you this, if you are able to take the right decision today, nothing might work out well for us. And let's not forget something that is very fundamental. These guys that are expected to gather the requisite information, do they have the modern skills? Do they have the technology? What is the level of confidence that those information they gather, they will to use it very well? What happens in our own communities that they only gather information about Yahoo boys, they gather information about boys that are wearing dreadlocks, and they go after them. How do they get the information? How do they know that these boys have some amount of naira in their account? How? So they can use technology to drag these bad boys, so to say that. Why can't they also deploy the same thing? So you can see what is going on now. They only pursue what will benefit them for the very now and forget about what will benefit, the larger amount of the people, which is not too proper at all. So in the agencies to do the needful and ensure that the right technology is deployed, and the officers are empowered to do that which is right. And that is the only way you can get it. If you are talking about intelligence gathering, people have lost confidence in going to meet the police or DSS to give them valuable information, because so many people have suffered because of giving out this information out to these agencies.
Thank you, Dr. G. Obasomi. Dr. Dan, talk to me about your perspectives on intelligence gathering. I mean, you look at on the international stage, see what countries are doing with intelligence gathering and how they're able to leverage on those information to take decisive and precise action. Many of the things we see in this part of the world, they are reactive rather than being proactive.
Thank you for this question. I want you to know that every state command has a technology that monitors call.
Every state command?
Yes.
Every state police command?
Every state police command has it. A technology that can track phone calls. Every state command has it. The question is, the CP in charge, has it deployed men and women who can do re-monitoring when cases are reported? That is a question we should be asking. If we have our CP phones, there are features in our phone. If you switch them on, they can use Google tracking to get where you are. I don't think it's a lack of technology. We've not built the right synergy to address the issue of insecurity. Intelligence is there, but what is the level of motivation? Many of the security agencies, there is this feeling that politicians are taking more than enough. So why should he kill himself? People fail to realize that there is breakdown of values as far as this country is concerned. There is this craze for material wealth. People are no longer concerned about integrity. Get what you can get now that you are in office. And because these things are in place, what you now find is that a man who is saddled with a responsibility is thinking about what he can get now rather than what can serve the common good. That is a challenge. So, for me, I will not say intelligence is not there. Well, it will be at a low pace, or even the security agencies themselves, they will not galvanize the people to volunteer information, either creating platforms where people can just drop information without disclosing their names. This is where we are. So, what do we need to do? Somebody needs to bear the card. The way out of it, Edo State government in the past, the last administration had what they call a command and control center, where a mapping was done around the city center and the major roads leading to the city. I don't know what has happened to that center now. The only state in Nigeria that has provided a prototype where there's a geo-mapping of the entire state is Enugu State. Even the military authorities have visited Enugu State to understudy what the state government has done. Why are other states not taking in that direction? So if you have a geo-mapping of our state, where if there's a call, you can say this person is in so-so forest, is a so-so place. You cannot deploy your security agencies to act. We are talking here at the level of those to manage the process. What is going on? Although they will tell you security is not what you present as a public discourse, that is more of a strategy. I think they are doing more of talking than walking. Because if they are walking, the situation will not be generated to the level we are. So the way out of it is that all of us, we need to start shouting. Sometimes I tell myself, those who have money, if you are a very rich man, you'll be afraid to go to your village. We are not pushing ourselves to the level where you stay in your house. You cannot go out because of the fear of being kidnapped. Since all of us are now living in fear, both the security agencies, traditional rulers, we need to come to a point where we say enough is enough. You have seen in this country where a man who has 15 security personnel around him, young men came against such individuals, and so many persons lost their life. If that can happen to such individuals, it's usually that you're having one policeman or two that can stand the forces of these individuals. So, for me, technology is not a problem. It is the political will to address this issue that is the problem. If the political will is there, the man called Mao Zedong, when he advocated for the development of China, he created small communities, larger communities, and it took crystal to the entire country. So, like Obasanjo suggested, if you have community intelligence team, if anything happens, they report to the local government center. And the local government center sends a message to the either senatorial or area command center. There will be swift response from the community, from the local government, from the area command. They can meet that issue immediately. But the will is not there. Some people will be thinking, if you create them, are you not going to fund them? Where is the money? So, but if we are to do political rally, we can release 500 million for that rally to settle some persons, but we cannot protect the larger lives. Are we thinking right? Something should be wrong with us as a people, because the very things that ought to make us humans, we are running away from those things. You cannot freely walk at night. You cannot say you are driving home because of the fear of the unknown. We were not like this before. Yeah. So we need to sit down. That political will is what we need. And we don't know who will talk to who to make this work, because they are hearing us. We talk about insecurity on different media platforms every day. But nothing seems to be working. Nobody is responding. If the generals are sitting now, you hear all the data they are going to give you. We are tired of seeing data. We want to see action. If a young man who is involved in kidnapping is arrested, what do we normally do? Do we take them to court and allow the justice process take its course on time? So these are things that can crystallize the whole process. So we are not doing that. Until we start doing these things, we cannot change anything.
Okay. If you just want us to still TMI on the ITV network, we'll take a short break. When we return, the forthcoming 2027 election. And that's because the politicians are at it again. They're doing their primaries to get House of Assembly ticket, House of Representatives, senatorial ticket, governorship ticket, and of course presidential ticket. What should be our engagement with them? What are the issues we should present to them? We'll put at the front burner for them to address by way of promises and action that will ensure that we have a society where all of us can live in You sleep with two eyes closed. You can go about your lawful duties without harassment, without molestation, without abuse, without kidnapping, without untimely death. I pray for the family of the teacher who was kidnapped in your state and eventually killed. 18 years in marriage, no child. So it's gone. That generation, to a large extent, it's gone because there's nobody to keep his legacy. Quite sad. We'll take a break. We'll be back with you. Stay TMI on the ITV network. Stay tuned.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
ITV, certainly the best.
The land of Owa is inhabited by the people with common ancestry, language, religion, economic and socio-political ties. However, irrespective of their subtitle differences in language and culture, they share common traditions. The people are known for their hospitality. Owa traced their origin to Benin King.
As we gradually bring this conversation to a close, 2027 is just around the corner, and political parties are carrying out their primaries to get their candidates. Now, the electorates have a major role to play. In fact, they have a major role to play when we move from primaries to the election proper. What should be the engagement of the electorate with these candidates That's a major thrust of our discussion now. Dr. Jude, give me your take, because this is the opportunity that the electorate have to hold those who are aspiring for various positions to make commitment in the fight against insecurity. How should they go about this?
All right, thank you very much. We all can see the paparazzi currently going on in terms of campaigns and the party primaries that are on. So some of us have very strong reservations, because even if some people feel that the primaries in all the parties have been quite peaceful, but for some of us that also monitored some of the primaries realized that, sorry, that they were not that as peaceful. On the part of the people, we have come again to a time where we should leaders, those that will govern us, make laws for the next 4 years, God willing. But the question is, most of us have, with due respect to all of us, have lost confidence in the system. You see, in 2023, there was a voter party to the tune of 21.7%, according to Yaga Africa and the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room. For this particular election coming up in 2027, we might even see increased apathy on the part of the voters. But the question I'm going to ask ourselves, how many of us actually influence the process of voting? On the day of election, some of that credible individuals and persons that have a particular an history that they can leverage on. But we see on that day of election, everybody say, I beg, I go collect my 4,000 naira. Let me go and collect my 10,000. Without actually engaging the people, engaging these guys that are going to be elected. So for me, people should be able to look at those that can provide us with security, those that can help us to provide us with good roads, healthcare, and empowerment of our younger person. Not a case whereby somebody has gone to the university, maybe after having a master's degree in engineering, you are now empowering the guy with an Okada, a machine, that you have empowered that guy. You have not done that, but rather you have gone ahead to further impoverish that person. So these are some of the issues that we can begin to engage these guys on. But however, the issue of security is very germane, because if you have a peaceful environment, that is when entrepreneurs will come to investors will come to our country. Small scale businesses will also thrive. Those that have hotels, nightclubs, small cotton industry will be able to do something. When you have good security, that is when those educational system can function very well. It's on record when we had some issues in Ekpom about a month ago. The university was almost closed down. People ran out of the community just because of this issue of insecurity, the reckless kidnapping that was trending as at that time. So we can also engage them on how they can have long-term plans, and that is where the Nigerian state is failing. Because we hear of the American dream. Any government that comes to America, president comes to America, we all talk about the American dream. Why can't you also begin to generate the conversation around or developing a Nigerian dream? Where do we want to be in the next 20 or 30 years? So any government that comes in place already has a master plate, a template, so to say, of how to move. But what we have in the country is that every voting people, they come with their own ideas, and if they fail, like some of them have failed now, to get a nomination for their parties now, every good thing or bad that they have done is jettison. So I believe that the people must be very careful to minimize that issue of collecting money. Because when they buy your vote, I tell you most solemnly, there is no way you can come and meet them to demand for accountability. But when you resist it, you can engage them. I also tell some persons, if you are in the desert and you are short of water, will you now say that because you are thirsty, you now go and drink water, boiling water that is steaming? There's no way. You try to manage and have that too. Why can't we just hold ourselves and believe that we can have a better Nigeria if we are committed? I must tell you, the people are also playing a major role why these politicians see us as people that 4 years' time we engage them again, they enter a car, we eat maize, we eat akara, we eat bread with them on the street. Thereafter, when we are elected, we now begin to use tinted glasses that they cannot see us. But however, let them know that when they fail today, there's a tomorrow. And thank God that most of our representatives now have even lost their nomination, which is very, very shameful. Despite the contact and the results that they have, they've even lost their nomination. So on the part of the people, my final thought words on this that let us try and engage constructively. Rome was not built in a day, but then we have, we make systematic progress. We can get it right. Not to progress to the next level. By the next time we now engage, we are now going backward. It's not too proper at all. And again, on the part of INEC, they should be seen to be very plain. They should be seen to be objective. A case whereby the march has started and you are now bringing some regulations, some laws, which are not favorable to the majority of the parties, is not too early at all. And thank God to the last court ruling that actually gave some politicians, so to say, some confidence and hope that gradually the INEC might be able to lead us to the right destination.
Dr. Jude Obasomi. Dr. Dan, this is a golden opportunity for the people to engage those aspiring for various positions. How can they leverage on it to demand a better security architecture for our people?
You talk about engagement. Is it not when the party creates avenue for engagement that we can have engagement?
But they are going to be going around campaign grounds, campaigning,
what
mobilizing.
What you see as campaign grounds are more of public shows. Do you have opportunity where people from the constituency or the ward or the polling unit where the campaign took place, have opportunities are given to them to ask questions? It's not always there. For me, the process ought to start with the party. If aspirants are vying for position, the political parties ought to create avenue where individuals who are having interest treat it as an open debate. I want to be the representative of social constituency. Let members of the constituency gather, maybe as their constituency headquarters. Let there be an open debate among the party members. If individuals who have the right ideas, you cannot say, let this person represent us. Some persons will say, this is an ideal situation, but we cannot have it here. Well, what is wrong in us having it here? But what you see is that the leadership of the party, there are kickbacks that are given to party leaders, and they will say, this is the anointed candidate. The best of candidates cannot get access to power. What you now find is that you have honorable members who don't know what it means to propose a bill. They cannot even organize an idea behind such a bill. The legislative aids they ought to employ in terms of the lawyers who will help them in legislative drafting, they take the weakest of them. So watch debates on the floor of either the State Assembly or the National Assembly. It's the same thing. So what kind of legislation will come out of such a people? So the issue of engagement can only work if the party restructure their approach to campaigns. Elsewhere, you see that debates are done in public universities. You move from state A to state B, it's in a university environment, because that is where ideas are crystallized. But we don't want such things here. He has money, he can settle party leaders. Those are the people who talk.
Sometimes you even organize the debates, they don't show up.
So what opportunity will the citizens now have to engage with such individuals? The way we run our political system, we have frustrated the common people out of the entire process. Because if the citizens are involved in the process, either by way of engagement, you cannot form basis to hold the person accountable. But where there was no formal interaction, what will you now say? What promise did he say he or she made to you? So that is the problem. Watch all our campaigns. Oh, the candidate is in so ward. They will hail the particular party. I will give you road. I will ensure that they do this. When he's not in office, he said, I was not in government when I made that promise. The resources are not there. So these are issues. Now, to relate it to what you said about security, that would work better if we have avenues where we sit down to talk. I suggested earlier that maybe your station should call for a security meeting. Get the eggheads, community members, let it be an open hall. From all the ideas we are going to articulate, we draw a memorandum of understanding, action plan on how to implement it. If we do that and the government is not ready to do anything, the citizen can now start demanding. You were part of this meeting. Why are you running away from solving the problem that is common to everybody? Poverty is coming very hard on us because the farmers cannot go to farm. Even if they are farm, they are kidnapped. So if people cannot farm and take care of themselves, how do you expect them to live? I just pray that those in government will put on their thinking cap and allow their sense of humanity come back to life.
Fantastic conversation, I must say. I'm not trying to praise myself, but appreciating our panelists on this discussion on looking at the issue of frequency of violence, violent attacks across the country, and the level of response by government, and what government can do, what politicians can do, and what even the people can do to address this issue. If we must move forward as a people, security has to be something that we've got to have a collaborative effort, a synergy of ideas. All hands must be on deck. And someone will ask, do we even have the deck for the hands to be on? It's a question and an answer segment for another day. But as it is today, things are not the way they ought to be in terms of insecurity, and it's affecting governance, it's affecting livelihood. Well, now you probably cannot even talk to the politicians about it because they're all focused on 2027, right from the president to House of Assembly candidates. And that seems to be a huge concern for most people. But we're hoping that government will match words with action. We want to see how funding for security is being spent, how our governors spending their security votes, President spending his security votes, local government council chairman spending his security votes, so we'll have a new lease of life. Again, our heart goes out to the family of the slain teacher in Oyo State who was buried over the weekend. Stay TMI on the ITV network. We'll be taking you to Abuja studio where Charity is on standby. Charity, good to have you on the show. As always, a lovely conversation we're expecting on the primaries that has taken place so far. We're looking at the elections and then, of course, security. There's a huge relationship between them. I mean, politics and security. And I've heard people say over time that part of the reason why we're where we are with our insecurity challenge, or challenges if you like, is a lack of political will. And I'm wondering, the issue of security or insecurity, isn't that something that we should have the utmost political will directed at just to ensure that we can solve it? Because with the insecurity problem, farmers can go to farm, so food production is lowering every day, hunger is looming. Without proper security situation in the country, governance can take place, development can take place, and this is the sad reality of where we are. Charity, over to you. Take it off from there.
Thank you very much, Sunny. Nice to see you again today on the program. Taking it away from you just dropped, yes, insecurity and elections are tied, because without security, nothing much can be done in this country. And that is why from the Abuja Network Center, Network Studio, we are analyzing the primaries and what is ahead of what is coming on in 2027. The presidential primaries of APC was conducted, and the sitting president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, emerged the candidates for the APC. And then there was this young man that summoned the courage to contest against him. We are talking about Stanley Osifo. So Nigerians will give it to him. At this vis-a-vis the gubernatorial primaries that held, as well as the senatorial primaries that held, where we saw people who are supposed to be giants dropped because of these primaries. To discuss this in the studio, I have no other person than an APC chieftain who is also a political analyst, Sam Eke. You're welcome.
Good morning, Good morning.
So let's take a look. Let's look at the bigger picture with what transpired at the presidential APC with the president in candidate the party 27 election. What is the political future of the APC is looking?
Well, President, congratulate the President for emerging of our party. At the same time, members in the process around as in their various federal constituencies, National Assembly, senators, and like the carrying for the election. I congratulate everyone. But looking forward, the bigger picture is the general election. And the general election is not a party affair. The general election is a national affair for Nigeria, across all political divides and the independent-minded persons. So I hope that as campaign goes on, governance will not stop. Policies and programs of governance will run concurrently with campaigns in various agencies and parastatals, states, local government, and all tiers of government. I hope all this will run together differently, because election will come and go, governance will remain. From now till the end of this administration, first tenure of this administration will be May 29, 2027. So 1 year and 1 year for campaign going together.
Okay, the primaries, aside the presidential primaries, the senatorial primaries, and House of Representatives primaries, plus gubernatorial primaries. Let's look at the National Assembly primaries, where incumbents actually lost. In fact, a National Assembly for 27 years got voted out. So is that a democracy?
Well, for the first time, I will tell anybody who wants to hear, the APC voted something right no other political party has done.
How so?
That thing is having a register, party register of members, and those members are the owners of the party. They came out in mass, voted for the candidates of their choice in the primaries, and the candidates of their choice are the ones flying the party, that will fly the party's flag. First of all, you might be in the National Assembly. If your people don't want you again, the party faithfuls don't want you again, they vote you out. There's nothing you can do about it. What has happened is the will of the people holding sway, the will of the people having its way, the will of the people in the party has decided that, oh, Mr. A, you will not go, Mr. B, you will go. That is where the narrative has changed. It's no longer an accusation of delegate where some people will be induced. You can't induce everybody in the party. So now party faithfuls are owners of the process. It's no longer a clique of persons. So if you see any man or woman who has not come back, any former this, former that, who are sense of democracy to party faithfuls in his constituency or in his state.
Are you sure? Because I know someone who actually delivered, and yet he wasn't returned.
Please, can you mention?
As a first-time House of Reps member in Nasarawa.
Hold on. To you, you believe he has delivered. Maybe in his constituency, they have the zoning formula.
Okay.
And maybe this zone will go for one term, the other zone will go, the other one. There are areas like that. And in the party, agreements must be followed. And if you don't agree to follow it, the people are now owning the process. They will come out and vote.
Let's look at, you talked about this particular, the direct primaries.
Yeah.
Is the best, if I must quote you, according to you, and that not everybody can be induced. But we also heard that there were cases of monetary inducement.
Well,
and also the fact that the ones that have been anointed by either the governors or the parties, they were the ones that scaled through. So how about that?
I participated in the process, and nobody induced me with a dime. And I have not heard of anybody in the party saying, oh, they were induced. I saw people, I don't know how many people you can induce, because the crowd in every ward is beyond human imagination. The crowd that came out for the process. So, if this same crowd who are members of our party vote in the general election, it's a win-win situation. It's just the president is having his second term on the platter of gold.
The president clinching the ticket
yes,
with almost 11 million votes.
With this over 10 million votes, then be rest assured we'll also find a way of getting independent-minded people and other people in other political parties to support the good works of the president. For a second.
We have Peter Obi, who we know how strongly he came out in 2023 under Labour Party, and he is now in NDC. He has declared to run under ADC. And if nothing changes, he will be running again against the sitting president. So what is it going to look like?
Well, Nigerians...
Okay, we also have a faction of the ADC that has produced a presidential candidate, and as of today, the other faction of the ADC is going to produce its own.
Be rest assured the president is doing well. He has turned the country into a construction site. We're having good projects that will last beyond his time. If you're doing routes that will last over 50 years, he has done it in this country before. We met everything right in one day, but the president is in. Be rest assured he will win his second term. With the people contesting, names you have mentioned, that's what we decide. Nigerians have seen what President Tinubu is capable of doing. We have not seen what most of them has done. And Nigeria is a complex society. It's not like a state, a small state, like one Kaduna state, or Nigeria in a larger form is beyond that. And the president have been able to navigate, manage the process, and is taking Nigeria to a prosperous nation. So they will contest. Nigerians will decide. And I tell you, Nigerians will decide on the APC and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Now that you mentioned the president's scorecard, he has done well in terms of construction, according to Nigeria's national side. But what happens to the increased rate of unemployment, increased rate of insecurity? Should that not be the main focus? Because according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it says that security is the primary responsibility of government. So what say you?
Well, anytime we talk about security, I'll first thank the armed forces, and at the same time sympathize with them, and at the same time support them in doing a good job. Security has gone so bad before now, but I can tell you the government is collaborating with a lot of international persons to make sure we curb this completely. You can hear of ISIS leader somewhere in the northeast. He has been brought down with, and you can, on daily routine, the military has made sure that they are wiping out this virus called insecurity in most of the areas in the country. Some of them will be dislodged. They will create problems elsewhere. It's not a one-day thing, but be rest assured that as we move forward, insecurity one day will be a thing of the past. The issue of unemployment, there will always be a time that a nation will have such situations to deal with. Nigeria today has always had the issue of unemployment since 1960. But it goes up and down. There was no time, and there's no nation that will provide employment for everybody. There's no nation.
But at least the nation will make the environment conducive
Nigeria,
for people who want to go into business.
Can I say something? Anything you lay your hands in doing in Nigeria and do it diligently,
it shall prosper.
You will prosper.
Amen.
Anything you lay your hand to do in Nigeria, you will prosper. A lot of people think government will provide everything. The only thing government will provide is infrastructural development to help you do business, ease of doing
enabling
business.
Environment.
And
do we have enabling environment where insecurity holds sway?
Can I say
electricity is not stable.
Hold on, can I say something? Technology is taking over.
Of course.
The globe.
Yeah.
Electricity we talk about. A lot of people now go and get solar, and
which is no longer cheap.
And they do their business. It's just that the demand is high. Power has increased from where it used to be to a better place. I will tell you, at least some people get 18 hours power. There was a time you stay 2 weeks, you don't see light. That time, once you see the blink of light, you hear, up NEPA. Nobody is doing that today.
No, we still do up NEPA.
Nobody is doing that today. So there's a certain improvement in power. But I can tell you, once you are ready and you're diligent in what you do, whether you provide services or you trade in this country, you would definitely improve. It's a gradual thing, but you will grow and you will prosper. No matter what, we have land, they have the option to people should just, everybody wants to do a white collar job. And that's why you talk of unemployment. Why not go into small scale businesses, have small machines that can produce 1 or 2, and see if you won't be better off in the environment you see yourself.
Your words Nigerians are watching and Nigerians are listening. Now to the primaries, Chieftain. With the way we heard that, those who, there are people who lost, who are threatening to challenge the process or to leave the party. How is that going to work for APC?
Well, I'll stop anybody from the process because it's an act of democracy. You're not with something, there are entities, you can find a way of addressing the issue. Whether you use the party mechanism or you have an issue we call it pre-election. So they have, it's there to challenge the process. The ones who want to leave the party, well, I would advise them to stay and build the process. If they need a change in the process, they should remain there and fix it, not jumping from one party to the other. It doesn't go well politically for them.
Earlier you talked about a multitude crowd that came out during the primaries, the direct primaries. So it is funny, but also it's concerns because there are videos now viral in social media where we saw a certain type of counting where we saw a certain type of counting that goes from 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, 50, 100. In fact, a particular person on Twitter, he was 15 on the queue, and he was counted as 50. And he said, I am 15. The person counter said, no, you are 15. So what do you say to that?
Well, I cannot defend something I don't know. I didn't see. I was not there. I didn't participate. But there are possibilities that those videos I did, maybe the man was coming and then the video and it no human participated in that. It is. Let's put
Candid.
I am what I was process which one political party who have done party primaries and it's everywhere and people participated, people mentoring people. There's none. You know, room police who you just adopted, they have done this while the register. Why is the people in the register not participating in the process? What's the fear? The process of APC today is with the people, the members of the party. Let's adopt it. And I assure you,
even from the where they allege that there was no primaries and yet results were declared. For instance, a place like Igabi in Kaduna State, it was alleged that there was no election and then the winner was declared for House of Reps.
I don't think there was no election. Election held in every.
Sure.
Yes.
There are
See, it may be one where you have. I've seen a local government with 18 wards, and maybe 17 wards had their process, and one ward had an issue with the process. You can't say the election they didn't hold.
But did you see the video in Kaduna where there were people protesting, say, Ba'aiza Abiba, there was no election?
Sometimes, do you know the attitude of politicians? Sometimes when I feel I'm losing in the process, I would tell people, go and protest Ba'aiba Anyi.
That multitude of people,
yes,
will come and protest Ba'aiza Abiba.
Some people, because they know they cannot win the person who is contesting with them. So sometimes don't just believe what people do. It's a premeditated activity. Videos.
Okay, so let me come back to the presidential election, where that young man, Stanley Osifo,
I congratulate him once again.
contested against President Bola Tinubu. I admire his courage, but the news out there says otherwise. It says that was just a staged performance to make it look like the candidates that emerged had competition.
Well,
how do you say to that?
Well, what I will say is, if it is stage managed, anybody can go and stage manage his own, let's see. But I will congratulate the man for having the courage.
He actually purchased the phone.
He did. If he didn't, he won't be on the ballot in the party. He won't participate in the process. I'll congratulate Mr. Osifo. You didn't get it today, you might get it tomorrow. It's his first time of running for president.
Such encouragement.
I would want him to try again some other time. He might be lucky. The party have seen that he's not just a pullover. He had over 10,000 votes.
16,000 plus.
So to tell you, some persons,
16,504.
some persons in the party still believe in him.
Yeah.
Some persons in the party still believe in him. So we have to congratulate him for taking the bold step. Is it easy to buy 100 million naira?
Yeah, that is why I'm asking.
So
if he actually,
that's to tell you that he believed in the.
He may get a refund though.
From who? He has participated in the process. He would have gotten a refund by keeping his money. Okay? He knows he cannot.
Are you sure they're not going to be giving his money like low-key?
From where? It's a party affair. Have you ever heard that somebody had a refund from the party? Let me give you a clear example. There was a man who contested, is a leader in the party, still in the party. He contested for the party chairman. I think party vice chairman. He contested for chairman, later party, one of the vice chairmen of the party. You know, during Buhari, they said, oh, some persons will be refunded their money. Till date, nobody has
gotten a refund.
He came out the other day on one of the platforms and said he has not gotten his
refund.
Who would refund that such money? Now, in Osipo's case, he even participated in the process. So he was not expecting a refund. He was coming for a contest.
Okay. 2020 is about 8 months from now. And as your last word, what would you be telling those who have emerged as candidates to represent their parties at the general elections and also the electorate, Nigerians?
Well, first of all, as election draws near, I urge every candidate of the APC first, go to the people, sell yourself, tell the people what you can offer. Let the people see you as someone who will change the narrative. Give them hope, the renewed hope Mr. President is talking about. Nigerians, I urge Nigerians to see reasons why the president should be given a second term to complete his good work. In every federal constituency, there's a federal project going on linking the constituency. Let this good work continue. Let's see how Nigeria would have a process that will continue and make the nation better. So the electorate should see reasons to support the APC. I urge the opposition not to shout. When they are campaigning, they say, oh, Mr. President have done the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway 70-80%.
Okay, opposition should be saying that.
They should say it. They should say it.
Why should the opposition be selling their opponents?
They say, when we come, we'll do the remaining 30%.
Oh.
Or we'll do the
so would
10%.
APC sell their opponents as well?
Or I urge them to see reasons why they should allow the status quo to remain. President Tinubu should continue and finish his tenure.
Thank you very much.
Nigerians, we want to thank Nigerians for coming out in mass, members of the party. They came out in mass, they voted, they supported the party, and we saw a seamless process in all states, constituencies, wards in the country.
Thank you very much. As only being part of info have on the primaries of the APC. As we look forward to other parties to do their own primaries, especially ADC, the other side of ADC that is going to take its decision
they have
today.
2 factions or 3, so I don't know which one we are talking of.
Please, thank you. So in the Gospel of Sam Ike, APC chieftain and a political analyst, candidates go out there, sell yourself to Nigerians, tell them what you can do, what you can really do, not what you cannot. You don't sell them promises that you will not, that you are not ready to fulfill. And as for the electorate, get your PVC and vote your choice. Do not allow yourself to be induced. Be prepared for that, so that as 2027 comes closer, let us see a process that will see that Nigeria has finally gotten to that stage where elections will hold, where elections will hold free, fair, and they will be credible. That's about the time we have from Abuja Network Studio. Now I'll be handing you over to Lagos Network Studio for the continuation of the program.
Hello, good morning, and to the continuation of This Morning on ITV from our Lagos networks. I am Patrick Muke. It's a rainy and a cool. We're looking at overhauling the just concluded APC primaries in Nigeria. We're going to be taking a look at how the primaries went down, starting from the House of Assembly, Senate, and the presidency. And of course, we know that the president, despite all odds, clinches the APC 2027 presidential election ticket with nearly 11 votes. We're taking a critical look at all of this. And to do this with me this morning in the house is Dr. Sam Wasinda. Dr. Sam, you're the program.
Good morning to you and good morning, Nigerians.
Well, we're going to be looking at the APC that had just been concluded with the last one, which is the presidential. Before I go into asking you the presidential primaries, let me ask you, I want to know from you what the term overhauling of the APC primaries truly imply in the current primaries and political climate.
They just compete to a reasonable extent is a welcome development in the sense that it's even the grassroots the opportunity to now participate in primaries rather than having just delegates as it used to be, where some number of people will go and represent. And of course, we know what transpired such thing. A lot of dollars and monies exchange hand. But this particular approach really opens it up where a lot of participants can actually, come in. But however, for me, it is the experience of this that is now worrisome, because you can understand that with the challenges of the current situation of Nigeria now, hunger here and there, it also avails an opportunity for the grassroots, to be induced, to go after people that some of them don't even know. They just come and say, just vote for this person. I've watched, if you go through the social media and you see several times, asking people, even the abbreviation of some of the political parties, you hear some jargon. So that tells you that they don't even know it. So they just give them probably a peanut and put them in the queue. And, they just go and vote for who they don't even know, whether it's the person they want or the person that they don't want. But I think for me, it's really a welcome development if proper enlightenment goes on. I think this is one good aspect to go, because it really, really gives, a larger participation where true leader actually supposed to emerge. But like I said, my concern, particularly for the APC, is their system of.
Okay, it's questionable, just like you said. You said if it were that the primary would have spotted a change. Any difference?
It doesn't feel like the one man to hospital, who should at the issue of the develop and what is some cause is already in the country, and so as little as 1,000 naira, somebody is ready to, not really knowing that he's going to actually sell this for 1,000 naira. He just feel, okay, this is a temporary relief at this will enable me buy maybe Gary and some granite for today. But forgetting granite and Gary that is today is actually for at him knowing. So that is where the danger of it comes from. But otherwise, honestly, it's really a welcome approach, because it enables everybody now to participate. So if I don't like you, I have the opportunity to take you out. Rather than some people going to misrepresent me. But this time around, I'm the one represent.
Let's say they just press, that Abuja, where the sitting President Tinubu clinches the APC presidential ticket with nearly 11 million votes. We have a president spoke after winning the primaries. If we can have that on.
A national chairman, your committee, the entire members of the electoral the source of assets of Nigeria country. Absolutely. All walks of life. Giving media
ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
Said you are hungry. Well, maybe there's a different definition of hunger that me I don't know. But if he's truly hungry, I don't think he will even speak the way he is. It will be obvious that he's hungry. For a country that God has so blessed and endowed with so many things, even supposed in the first place. That's why I say I'm trying as much as possible to keep my cool. You see, it's rather unfortunate because you could see on the other went and for him to have even emerged. It was after the primary itself I got to understand that he has an opponent. All the while I never knew. Maybe some people knew there was an opponent. Me, I never had that there was until when the process was going on. We saw somebody has 16,500. One chieftaincy Stanley Osi from Edo State. Yes. 16 in the nationwide. That's to tell you how the game was actually played. For me, it's a clear template that they are trying to show us how 2027 most likely look like. So
I was going to come there. That does this primaries with APC reflect on how 2027 was?
Oh yes, they are just trying to do more or less like rehearsals, trying to test run how look like, So I'm not even surprised at the figure of nearly 11 million because, of course, if you see how the counting process, if this is how counting is done in this country, I think in the light of finance, that would have made a whole lot of sense because I cannot imagine somebody from 82 is entering 1,000 and 1,000 and something. So that also tells you probably how these numbers, actually also emerges. Because you see, that's why I'm emphasizing on the transparency. My concern is the transparency of that process. It's a good system, but the transparency is where we have a problem because you have the agency having their own excesses. You know, we have people on queue and you are counting and you are jumping numbers, adding numbers. That's, to me, is a major problem. Okay? So that probably that is how it also emerged, because we've seen it before in the other primaries before. So they were all a build up to this particular, you know, area. So for me, Nigerians should really, really buckle up and ready for whatever is coming, you know.
So that's why I'm going to ask you what major controversies emerged from the just concluded APC primaries. You have just talked about and pointed out about how it was counted from 10 to 100, from 100 to 1,000. Were there other major controversies apart from counting?
There were several controversies, because if you listen to somebody like Desmond Elliott, he was venting about how we're not allowed. Those are the to see, you know, he had out because he had major votes because of where he was coming from. A lot has happened. We've seen people come and they're addressing press and me, I'm very sure that they will win this thing. I'm saying this is because, like I said, we saw the counting process.
Well, thank you so much for staying with us, and we sincerely apologize for the technical glitch. So the main conversation thus far on, you know, the three network centers has just been regarding the primaries that went down over the weekend. And as you are aware, just in case you don't know, we had it on our newspaper review timing where we said that the ADC would be having their own primaries kickstarting today with the three big men right now, you know, in the front of a lot of Nigerians with the ADC. We have Atiku Abubakar, we have Rotimi Amechi, and we have Yahaya too. And a lot of questions really on the front burner at this point. But just to also take you back, that over the weekend we saw a faction from the ADC presenting a sole candidate for the ADC in the person of Dumebi Kachiku. And we had him actually thanked a lot of amazing party members over the weekend, saying thank you so much for all of the honesty, all of your belief in me. And then it begs the question of, really, is the ADC house together at this point? What is still going on within the opposition parties in Nigeria, now searching and beaming our light to the ADC? And right now, today, we're hearing in the news that the David Mark-led faction of the ADC would be having their own party primaries, you know, being done today. A lot of things to actually talk about at this point. But then again, let's not forget that one of the major conversation that we actually did, you know, spring out from our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the weekend was where he said that he is not going to give out power to the opposition parties, meaning he's not going to just let it be all Hulu, you know, come 2027. Whilst we're seeing that the opposition parties' house are not even, you know, they're not having their access together at this point, and then we're now seeing, you know, the ADC and the president saying we're going to fight it down up until the letter. Well, we can only wait for all of the outcome of this. Now, still staying back with the APC, over the weekend and also the previous weekend, where we saw the party primaries being done for House of Representatives and also the Senate seat as well. Some of the major things that characterized the party primaries was controversies. We had controversies. We had persons, so many aggrieved members at this point, who are looking forward to the nearest possible way of, you know, gaining power or recovering power come 2027. It's a whole interesting game ahead, I really must say, but we can only wait and, you know, look out for the outcome from the different political parties. And I also think at this point, a lot of Nigerians should be informed that when it comes to election in Nigeria, it's not the person with the so much big, amazing, you know, basementship online that wins the ticket. At least we saw that happen in the 2023 general election. So now is the time for you to be part of the process in whatever possible way that you can. Ensure that your PVC, you have actually gotten it, and you're going to come out on that day to cast your vote, because we do not want a situation of after we have another person or in the next 4 years, we are still complaining about the same things that we complain about over time. And then what are these things? Electricity, insecurity, the list actually is endless. The education sector is still there. Food, inflation. This morning we saw a shocking news on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper, where it did state that Nigeria remains World Bank third largest borrower with 18.5 trillion naira. But it's actually a billion, 18.5 billion naira. And that's another major conversation. So we do not want a situation where we have a government, the government of the day, who keeps on borrowing, just as the presidency said that it's not a sin to borrow, but it's what you do with the monies being borrowed that a lot of Nigerians always turn their attention to. So you might want to actually come out to ensure that your voices are being heard. Because at the end of the day, the power belongs to the people. Your vote truly matters. Your vote is your power. So do the needful by participating come 2027 in Nigeria. And this is about the time where you begin to hold your leaders accountable. So now you know that within the APC, or from the APC party, we have President Bola Tinubu, you know, churning out. The ADC, we don't know if we're going to have like 2 presidential aspirants coming out from Dumebi Kachiku. On a lighter note, somebody on X actually said President Dumebi doesn't really sound sweet, right? But then again, we don't know who's going to come out today. We don't know if it's Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amechi, or Yahaya to Dean. Well, only time will tell. But then again, for the NDC, we know that we have Peter Obi coming out there with his partner, Kwankwaso. Now, the PDP, we hear that former President Goodluck Jonathan might actually be the face of the PDP for, the presidential ticket. The PRP, we're seeing a former governor of Cross River State happen. And which other party, I finally mentioned? I think the one that has to do with Seyi Makinde also being the front face of that party. Well, it's going to be an amazing ride. And it's interesting to see how we have actually moved from talking about a one-party system to amazing different political parties right here in Nigeria. Anyway, we'll quickly take a short break, and when we return, we'll move over to look at interesting news update right here in Edo State in Nigeria and also across the world.
ITV, certainly the best.
some days, there comes the Uge Mobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Mobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
In a rare display of botanical brilliance, the palm tree defied natural norms, sprouting multiple branches that bear fruits. This rare occurrence has become a wonder to many, as experts are calling it a one-in-a-million phenomenon. Could this multiple-headed marvel hold secret to agricultural breakthroughs, or is it simply a freak accident of nature? An agronomist with Nigeria Institute for Oil Palm Research, NIFOR Benin. The strange palm tree also raises issues of a blend of science with human interest and cultural significance for maximum impact.
ITV, certainly the best.
Hello and welcome to the news update on ITV. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. It was an evening of elegance, wellness and family bonding in Benin City on Saturday as family members, friends and well-wishers gathered at the serene government reservation area residence of legal practitioner Barrister Michael Igbenedion for a unique birthday celebration tagged Mikoko Bash. The colorful event combined relaxation, fitness, and entertainment in a refreshing natural ambience, complete with sparkling swimming pools and beautiful landscaped surroundings. A former governor of Edo State, Chief Dr. Lucky Igbenedion, led members of the Igbenedion family and other distinguished guests to the memorable gathering. Donald Amir reports.
Soft music and the calming beauty of nature created the perfect atmosphere for an unforgettable evening at the GRA residence of Barrister Michael Igbenedion in Benin City. Guests were welcomed into a relaxed and elegant setting surrounded by sparkling pools, beautifully decorated outdoor spaces, and an ambience that reflected warmth, class, and family unity. Celebration tag Mikoko Bash took a refreshing dimension as fitness and wellness became the central focus of the event.
15, 16, 17, come on, 18, keep going, 19, 20, keep going, come on, extend the numbers, 21, 22, no beach assness, 23, 24, come on, raw power, come on, 24.
Friends, associates, and family members participated in the various fitness activities and friendly competitions designed to promote healthy living, unity, and recreation. The celebrant, Barrister Michael Igbenedion, also treated guests with an impressive display of fitness skills, drawing applause and admiration from participants and well-wishers alike. Winners in different categories went home with exciting prizes, adding color and excitement to the celebration.
It's not easy to compete with a heavyweight lifter, and it's not easy, and I feel great.
I'm very happy that I did this. I'm excited that I won.
The event attracted several prominent personalities, including former Governor of Edo State, Chief Dr. Lucky Nosahaye Igbenedion, who led other members of the Igbenedion family to honor the celebrant. Also present was the Managing Director of Independent Television and Radio, Engineer Elvis Obaseki, who joined other guests in the fitness exercises and participated in the bench press section. In an interview, Barrister Michael Igbenedion appreciated family members, friends, and well-wishers for celebrating with him, noting that the essence of the gathering was to encourage healthy living, happiness, and togetherness.
This birthday party, I wanted it to be about fitness. I just started on my journey about 3 months ago, and I gave myself 2 years to lose half of my body weight, basically. And within 3 months, I've done like about 10 to 12 kilos. So I wanted to do like what is called a fitness party, either with gym wear or swim wear, something surrounding fitness, good health.
Some of his brothers describe him as disciplined, caring, and energetic, adding that his passion for wellness and family unity continues to inspire those around him.
I wish him every absolutely best wish in the world. And he is someone who goes for what he wants, is a go-getter. And may he, this year, get everything his heart has been set on forever and ever.
He's a very remarkable person, lovable. He's always, there to listen to you, there to, assist you. He's a very wonderful person, and I wish you the best, my brother.
The Mikoko Bash ended on a lively and memorable note with laughter, relaxation, and moments of bonding reflecting the true spirit of family, friendship, and healthy living. From Benin, Donald Ehiminyang, ITV News.
Well, meanwhile, Christians have been encouraged to reflect the fruits of the Holy Spirit in their daily lives, especially in spreading the gospel through evangelism. The call was made by visiting priest Reverend Father Francis Momo during the Pentecost Sunday Mass at St. Gabriel the Archangel Catholic Church, Sapele Road, Benin City. Joy Abarsiabo has more.
Pentecost Sunday, celebrated 50 days after Easter, marks the descent of the Holy Spirit upon the apostles and early followers of Jesus Christ, empowering them to preach the gospel to all nations. At St. Gabriel the Archangel Catholic Church in Benin City, the visiting priest, Reverend Father Francis Momo, emphasized the importance of the Holy Spirit in the lives of every Christian. Delivering the homily, Reverend Father Momo urged Christians to allow the gift and fruit of the Holy Spirit to manifest in their conduct, relationships, and evangelism efforts.
God did not promise the Holy Spirit to the apostles alone. He promised us the power that we may encounter the power and do the
Pentecost celebration also featured soul-lifting hymns and songs of worship, creating an atmosphere of spiritual reflection and thanksgiving amongst the faithful. Among dignitaries present at the Mass was the Esama of Benin and Honorary Romanian Consul to Edo and Delta State, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawa Igbinedion. From Benin, Joy Obai-Siagbon, ITV News.
In Inquirer State, where the State Police Command has confirmed the killing of 3 worshippers and the abduction of 15 others following a deadly attack by armed assailants at a prayer ground in Ekiti, local government area of the state. It was gathered that the attack occurred on Saturday night at Orioke Ajia, located on the outskirts of Ikira village in the Ikira Ajuba axis of the local government area, throwing surrounding communities into panic. Sources in the area had earlier disclosed that terrorists stormed the community in large numbers, attacking worshippers and residents before fleeing through nearby forest route. Confirming the incident in a statement issued on Sunday, the Commissioner of Police, Adekimi Ojo, described the attack callous and unacceptable, assuring the families of the deceased, the injured, and the abducted victims that the command is fully committed to ensuring the rescue of all victims and the apprehension of the perpetrators behind the heinous act. Meanwhile, the Department of State Services, DSS, has released a male youth, Mr. Yahu Muhammad, from Gashua town in Bade local government area of Yobe State after investigations confirmed that he had no connection to any wrongdoing. In what has been described as a rare humanitarian gesture, the DSS also provided the young man with 2 million naira to support his reintegration into society and help him establish a livelihood for himself and his family. The Special Advisor on Security Matters to the Yobe State Governor, retired Brigadier General Dahiru Abdul Salam, disclosed this during a visit to the DSS Yobe State Headquarters in Damaturu, where the young man was formally handed over to him before reuniting with his family. General Abdul Salam explained that his visit to the command was aimed at ascertaining the circumstances surrounding the detention and eventual release of Mr. Yahu Muhammad. According to him, further investigations and reviews by the service confirmed that the young man had no involvement in the alleged offense of which was earlier detained. The retired general described the development as unprecedented in his decades of public service, noting that he had never witnessed a situation where a suspect was not only released after being cleared, but also provided with financial support for integration. He stated that the gesture reflects a deliberate commitment by the Director General of the DSS to promote justice, compassion, and rehabilitation. General Abdul Salam also urged all the security agencies to continue upholding the rule of law and respecting fundamental human rights in order to strengthen public trust and cooperation. Responding shortly after his release, Mr. Yahu Muhammad expressed gratitude to Almighty God, describing the experience as an act of destiny and faith. He also appreciated the Director General of the DSS for the kindness and support extended to him, promising to make judicious use of the funds provided to build a sustainable means of livelihood and support his family. While still on the news, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, has placed the country on heightened Ebola alert, warning that Nigeria faces a high risk of Ebola virus disease, EVD, importation amid the worsening outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and Uganda. Director General of the NCDC, Dr. Jide Idris, disclosed this in an emergency preparedness update, revealing that although Nigeria has not recorded any confirmed Ebola case linked to the ongoing regional outbreak, authorities have activated nationwide surveillance and response mechanism to prevent a possible outbreak. The agency said its latest dynamic risk assessment identified international travel, population movement, porous borders, and delayed symptoms recognition as major factors increasing Nigeria's vulnerability. The NCDC noted that high-risk states, border communities, transport hubs, and points of entry had already been identified for intensified monitoring. In response to the growing threats, the agency announced that the National Emergency Operations Center, EOC, had been placed on alert mode, while the National Incident Management System, IMS, had been activated to coordinate rapid national response efforts. NCDC says rapid response teams and epidemiologists across the country have also been placed on standby for immediate deployment to any state where a suspected case may emerge. The agency said surveillance activities had been strengthened nationwide, especially at airports, border communities, and health facilities, with officials monitoring alerts, rumors, and unusual disease patterns to ensure early detection. The National Business and Technical Examination Board has extended the registration period for the 2026 National Common Entrance Examination into technical colleges across Nigeria to May 31st. The board also announced a shift in the examination date from June 6th to June 13th. This was contained in a statement issued on Sunday in Benin by the board's Assistant Director, Media and Protocol, Mr. Uchechukwu Olisa. The board spokesperson explained that the extension followed a request from prospective candidates seeking additional time to complete their registration processes. He said the registrar expected candidates to take advantage of the extension to conclude all registration formalities before the new deadline. And that ends the news at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. Coming shortly is TMI Socials.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning. This is TMI Socials. Welcome on board. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. I better still call me a social media butterfly. Well, it's no longer news that Arsenal, after 22 years, won the title of the Premier League when Manchester City drew 1-1 at Bournemouth, followed by a 2-1 win over Crystal Palace on the final day. Now, tell you what, in Kenya, supporters shut down Nairobi's CBD, Westland, and Pipeline Estate with chants and flair, earning special TV coverage from TV stations right there. Also in Uganda, we saw parades in Jinja and Kampala with fans marching behind mock trophies. Down here in Nigeria, supporters bought a cow, painted it red with the club logo, and tied it up amid market bustle, sharing a video that drew laughs from fans and rivals alike. Anyway, let's have a feel of how it went down on socials. Well, the celebration is actually contagious. I mean, let's just hope that on Saturday, Arsenal is going to win against PSG to clinch the Champions League tickets or title. That would be like double celebration in overall. Anyway, we're looking forward to that. Can we have 2 reactions on this interesting, wonderful, amazing piece? This user wrote, "We deserve it. We have paid our dues for heartbreak. Oh my God. We are the Premier League champions. We are going to win the Champions League. They got to believe us now." Absolutely. Let's see how that goes. Now, finally, this one says, 1 down, 1 to go. Really written for you. Well, see how that goes. Now, back here in Nigeria, let's talk politics. As over the weekend, we saw President Ahmed Tinubu win the APC presidential ticket to represent the party in the forthcoming election come 2027. Now, several videos online went viral on how the party primary actually held down on Saturday. And let's have a couple of clips to look at videos that were trending over the weekend regarding this interesting story.
2 candidates. One is my candidate, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The other man there, I don't know him. Only in Wakakom. So please, those who came to monitor this election, over to you. You can come. Don't need to speak on it, just like
I know. Somebody can. All right, the counting is starting now. Number 1 here. Number 2. 3, 4. Speak up, please. 90. 92. 95.
Tinubu is the Biafra we have been looking for. A man who has integrated the entire Southeast. Yes, sir. A man who has given us juicy appointments. Yes, sir. A man who has given us very important infrastructure. That's true. Bola.
A national chairman, your committee, the entire members of the electoral process committee, the steadfast support and sacrifices of Nigerians across the country. I salute all of you.
Well, did you see that moment when Stanley Osifo went to shake the president and say congratulations? A lot of persons had different thoughts and reactions regarding it. But let's have your tweet and see what you have been saying on socials. This user says, this is shameful and quite disgusting. This is not politics. It's even more shameful that the deputy speaker was present and that such a thing was happening. But then the real question is why? Why are they jumping from 11 to 1,000? I guess we all know the answer. And this is how they have been winning elections in Nigeria. Or he's asking the question, well, I don't know. Well, this one says, crazy thing is he did win a landslide, laugh out loud. Nigerians don't understand change doesn't come by tweeting, ranting, and Twitter banter. Change happens when real intent. If you want change in Nigeria, you must step out from your comfort tweeting zone and hold INEC accountable if anything goes south. Now, finally, on X, this user says, okay, I think that's all we have on that one. Now, in a rather sad development coming out from Imo State, fresh details have emerged in the shocking killing of a nursing student in Imo State after a suspect allegedly confessed to participating in the attack that claimed the life of a young woman identified as Wendy. Well, Wendy, a student of the College of Nursing, was said to have been found dead inside her off-campus apartment under gruesome circumstances, sending shocking waves through community, school community and beyond. We actually heard on social media that a group of guys who were asking her out and she refused did the act. They not only killed her, but they also raped her before killing her. Now let's take a look at the video that went viral from one of the killers.
The other man, I don't know, brother.
Now, may her soul rest in peace. Amen. Really a sad incident. Now, let's take reactions to this story. This user says, there has to be harsher laws for rape and a definite timeline for concluding whatever court processes and passing judgment. This is getting ridiculously rampant. Another user on X wrote, see what we have. This one says, another innocent life cut short in the most horrific way. A young woman who dedicated herself to saving lives through nursing deserve protection, not this cruelty. May Wendy Achumba get justice, and may those responsible face the full weight of the law. Well, as we get to wrap up to my socials, let's get the story from the African Democratic Congress. Interestingly, we see a faction led by its 2023 presidential candidate, Dumebi Kachiku. He has picked, he has been picked as the sole presidential candidate ahead of the 2027 general elections. Now, this happened over the weekend on Sunday in Abuja. Let's take a listen to his speech.
We arrive at a consensus candidate, and I want to present to you formally the candidate for the ADC for 2027 presidential election come 2027 as our presenter candidate, not nobody, but His Excellency, the father of this party, the leader of this party, the man who has made us to be here. I am very sure when we were talking in a meeting with him, he made comment and we say, no, God forbid. I am very sure with the way Nigeria is radiating, we know that we are going to present or produce the president-elect of this country come 2027. So I present to you warmly and heartily, Honorable Chief Odumebi Kachuku as the candidate for ADC presidential election called 2027.
A click is of trouble in paradise, because tell me which party primaries from the ADC will be holding on today. Let's see tweets on this story. You wonder if we're going to have 2 presidential aspirants from the ADC. This one says, be like ADC go produce 2 presidential candidates. A very good strategy to win. Kachiko will hold down the south, while Atiku will hold down the north. ADC wins. Okay, well, finally, this user says, let's see another tweet. Okay, that's all we have. There's one part where one user actually said, President Dumebi doesn't even sound sweet. So tell me which name actually sounds sweeter for you. But anyway, that's how we get a wrap up TMI Social this morning. Big shout out to you for being part of the show. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. From all of us on This Morning on ITV, please stay safe. We'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye.